welcome to Tikumala on the Soul with Love. My name is Jessica and I go under the name of Unconditional Self-Love Goddess. So, I'm starting a new series and I wanted to do it also wearing the color of what we're going to talk about. This series, I basically want to explain why I'm doing this. And today I started listening to something that really opened up my eyes. When I started my journey of healing, I had no idea what healing meant. And if you're in the same route, and if you don't know what you're doing it or what you're actually doing, let me tell you, I've been where you are. When I started my journey, I had just literally lost 100 pounds. I used to weigh 335 pounds and have left a very volatile, at that time, not healthy relationship. But I needed to learn that lesson. I know why, because I had karma with him. I had met him in another lifetime, and now I know because I've gone in my Akashic records and my guides led to me the awareness. So I don't see myself as a victim of that relationship. I see myself as like I was paying my dues. So that's how much inner healing I've done. I believe that every single person that has come in my journey, they sign up. They sign up the human brain to comprehend and understand and understand says hurt. These people hurt me. But for me, they did not hurt me. My truth is that they came into my life to teach me a few lessons so I could remember my worth. So I talked last week. If you're new to Tikkun Olam the Soul, welcome. Tikkun Olam means healing the world, soul with love. Not carnal love, not sexual love. This is letting other people voluntarily evolve, including ourselves. So the reason I decided to do this because this is how I heal myself. I like to make people self-sufficient, not codependent. I teach people how to do these things, and I teach them and guide them. I am able to see patterns. And the reason I did this, I literally realized today that I don't know what family is. Do you have an idea what's a regular family? Do you know? Have you ever had a safe, beautiful family in which each of the parents are happy, not codependent of the mom or the dad to create their happiness, but they're happy on their own? Do they have boundaries? Do they teach their kids boundaries? There's a lot of things that I literally realized, and I had to learn to do those things to myself. The reason I did this is because I always used to ask, I've always been extremely sentimental, and I always used to ask myself when I was in that not so healthy relationship, I had given up. I'm not gonna deny it, I had given up. And I used to ask myself, real love only shows in television. It's a lie. But I realized that no, there's good men out there. And sometimes there's good men that don't know their self-worth because they don't know the concept of self-love. That's how I call myself. I call myself Unconditional Self-Love Goddess 19. If you will be interested in booking a reading, learning more about this, I actually teach people how to do this and tap into your subconscious mind. And the music you're listening in the back, I'm going to give you a little bit heads up, okay? Why am I putting this? The wave that you're listening to is called alpha waves, and it's connected to the root chakra, exactly the chakra that we're talking in today, the MULADARA chakra, and that's a Sanskrit word in Indian, okay? I'm from El Salvador. I don't know nothing about this. I'm a regular person just like you, but in my regular journey, I was desperate for change. After having been in such an unhealthy relationships, I remember I talked to God and I asked God, I want to heal myself. This is one of the ways how I heal myself. And of course, everybody has their own way. I'm just sharing my tools. You have free will. If it resonates, good. If it doesn't, discard it. We all have free will. So The Muladhara chakra, and this is an example of how our body is. Okay, as you can see, these are the names. So this is how we look when we're sitting down. I actually got this in yoga therapy when I was going to therapy. I could also show you a bigger picture of it, and that's when you sit crisscross applesauce. Okay, see, the Muladhara chakra is the same as the first chakra we're going to discuss today. That's why I'm wearing red. I am the kind of person that I set the intention. I actually, when I was healing my Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, I was wearing red for a whole week because I was meditating on that. Then I started with meditating 3 days. That's how I was instructed to do it, but I had to learn fast. And I'm a fast learner. So the Muladhara chakra, it's right here. As you can see, it's connected. This is actually a yoga pose. It's connected right here at the bottom of your, give me 1 second. I actually have a rose, and I actually I wanted to represent the Muladhara chakra. And basically, as you can see, it's connected to right here at the back of your spine, connected to your private parts, all the way at the bottom right here. It's represented by this sign. The Muladhara is said in Sanskrit word, that's ancient word, and the Muladhara chakra, it goes like that. So this week we're gonna talk about the root chakra, the Muladhara chakra, and every single week we're gonna start going into the sacral, into the solar plexus, into your heart, into your throat chakra, into your third eye, and your crown chakra. Those are the main 7 chakras we have inside of our body. Why are they very important? Because if they're not moving, as you listened to in the last video, and if you haven't, you have free will, go ahead and listen. When I'm talking about chakras, they're spirals, they're inside of our body, and they're basically inside of our bodies, and they're energetic spirals in which when we are not flowing correctly, we don't feel safe. We don't feel like we belong. We're not making enough money, or we make money and the money just goes away real quick. So going through my journey of self-realization, I'm being honest, I'm literally showing raw exactly. I painted the root chakra, and on this side, it has the reason what is blocking the chakra connected to earth chakra, which is the first chakra, and what is how you will be able to be once you remove the blockage from the root chakra. So the root chakra is connected at the bottom of the spine, as I had mentioned already. It's at the bottom in the back of the tailbone, all the way at the bottom. There's so many ways that people can actually talk about it. It's near the sacrococcus joint at the bottom of the spine. The base chakra, also known as that, is the first chakra. It's connected to red. In the Sanskrit name is Muladhara, and a lotus of 4 petals. So when you're starting this journey, you're basically trying to feel grounded. What is the block by? By fear. There's actually many other things that block the root chakra, the Muladhara chakra, but that's one of the biggest one. If you're a person that is afraid, gets easily intimidated, that's one of the reasons why it's blocked. It's connected to survival. That's why I put survival. So once you basically let go of all the fear and you're connected to Mother Nature and Earth right here, you're basically learn to realize that I am safe. I am enough. I belong in this world. I don't feel like an outsider. I'm not afraid of anything. I am connected to nature. I am connected to everything in the world. So the Muladhara chakra moves in a clockwise direction, okay? The glands are connected to the blood, are connected to the feet, is connected to the knees. It helps us regulate all of those things. If you have any knee problems, if you have any skeleton issues, blood, it actually levels any glands. It's connected to any feet problems. So if you have any feet problems, most likely you have an unbalanced root chakra. If you have any knees, you have an unbalanced hips, connected to your teeth, connected to your nails, connected to the rectum and the spine. And those are some of the things that is associated, in which when it's connected to your body or body parts itself, you will say, okay? When it comes to what does it represent, the root chakra represents the physical stability, so you feel stable, like you belong in this world. It's connected also to security. You also become self-sufficient, and you are responsible for yourself. You're not looking for somebody else to make you happy. You're not looking for somebody else to give you that happiness, that joy, to give you, you know, all that assistance. No, you become basically self-sufficient, and it's connected to earth, and it's connected to our survival instincts. Something that I did wanted to show you guys, the healing journey. When it comes to the healing journey in this self-awareness and getting to know yourself, you gotta realize that there's different people, and people work in different ways, okay? And everybody has free will to do that. One of the things you actually learn by working on your root chakra is not just finding stability and feeling safe in the world, but you also can learn to regulate your emotions, because our chakras are actually connected to our emotions. So let me go ahead and show you an emotional scale. This is the emotional scale, you see? And this emotional scale guide is actually, you could find this in Google, and these are basically the emotions that mostly are connected. As you can see, the first one is what? Fear. That is connected to our root chakra. It's also connected to grief. It's also connected if you're extremely depressed. It's also connected to despair, and if you feel powerlessness. So all of these things, if you have any of this, fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, if you feel insecurity, if you feel guilty, if you feel unworthiness, those are all connected to your root chakra. That's an unbalanced root chakra. And those are the things that you have to overcome. And little by little, you start going up the scale. The more that's why I say that this is how I learn how to deal with my emotions. I'm not saying that sometimes I don't feel insecurity. Yeah, I have. Yet, I ground myself. I ask myself, and I take a deep breath, and I'm like, dear God, where is this insecurity coming from? Did I pick that up? From who? Mom? Dad? Boom. That's going to open to the next phase. Okay? The alpha state. Yesterday, in my one of the things that I was talking about being able to put this kind of music in the background. If you guys hear it, that's alpha frequencies. Those are brain waves that we have in our mind, okay? And there's different brain waves that as we as humans, we move throughout the day and throughout our life. The alpha one actually is connected to the root chakra. Let me explain to you why. As soon as you are made from a sperm and your mom and your dad had sex, you were conceived like a beautiful egg. And then you're put inside your mother's root chakra. That's where you start being conceived. So since the day you are conceived until the age of 7 years old, we as little kids, and sometimes it gets developed, okay, we go into the alpha state. Okay, we are just sponges. The alpha frequency is mostly between, since being conceived until the age of 7, which is also connected to our root chakra. Yes, so when you're a little sponge, you're just picking up like a little kid. When I talked about why do I feel insecurity, who did I pick it up from? Because we're energetic beings. And remember, energy and motion. If the root chakra is not working properly, you're going to feel depressed. Depression is thinking about the past. You cannot go back into the past. There's nothing that you can do about it. And you got to let it go. The past cannot repeat it, there's nothing that you can do. Fear. Fears are false events that keep on appearing real. Depression is living in the past, trying to fix something that you cannot redo and let it go. Despair. Where did you pick up that despair when you were a sponge? Between the ages 1 and 7. Was it mom? Was it dad? Was it grandma? Because you're in an alpha state. Remember, when you're in an alpha state, you are literally vibrating at the frequency of the music that I have behind you. I call it music. I call it frequency. Call it whatever you want. But this is what I am going to be putting, because we're able to go back to the alpha state in which we're receptive. We are calm. You notice, like little kids, and this is a fact. Little kids, when they're little, they're just like chilling. They're not overstressed. When they are, it's because they're picking up their mama. When they're grieving and pain, they're picking up their mom's, grief. That's when we're in alpha state. Between as soon as we're conceived until the age of 7, some people, they do, I could say, based on whatever level of awareness or lesson they need to learn, sometimes it stays in alpha state until the age of 14. That's why sometimes you see people like so calm, so relaxed, because that's what alpha does. And we don't realize that as little kids, we're just becoming sponges. And that's what the alpha frequency does into our brain. When you feel powerlessness, I want you to realize, who did you pick it up from? Was it mom? Was it dad? Who was it? Because when you come with a little kid mindset and you come with the frequency, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, we become sponges to our external growing up with our parents. Your parents are here to teach you survival. That's what our parents are put in our life. Yet, if you grew up in a chaotic environment in which your parents didn't even listen to you emotionally, you're gonna feel depressed, because you're gonna be like, my mom never cared for me. She never paid me. I don't feel unworthy of my mom ever giving me that attention. And then you're gonna start feeling guilty. Another thing, when you're feeling guilty, you are literally picking up, personalizing every single thing that has happened to you as a little kid. We have to learn not to personalize our parents' issues, our sisters' issues, our brothers' issues. You don't have to feel guilty. Every single person is responsible for their own emotions. When you are healed and you are healing in your journey, you realize that I'm not responsible for how you feel. I'm only responsible for my emotions. And if you love me, and if you know that you love me, you know that I'm not responsible for how you feel. I'm only responsible for myself. Therefore, I'm going to give you free will for you to attend to your own emotions. If you feel some kind of way at that time, when you're in a healthy relationship, which is something that most of us never know, you're able to communicate with your partner and you're able to tell them, you know what? Today, I did not have a very nice day at work. I am not going to, I don't feel like talking right now. I need some space. I need to take a shower. I need to go sit with how my day was at work, and I'm going to sit with myself. That's emotionally intelligence. A lot of us were never taught none of that. We are taught numbers. We are taught math. We are taught all of that. But no, everything that has to do with logical mind. Nobody talks to us about emotionally intelligence. And those are some of the things I started developing with myself when I started working on the chakras. So the first one was learning to realize that I am worthy to express my emotions. I am good enough on my own. I am safe. I know that I matter. I know that I belong. Those are affirmations. Those are things that I started working on myself in order for me to feel like I belong in this world. Because my whole life, I was an outsider. I felt I was abandoned by my parents. You know, I met my parents until the age of 13. I was raised by somebody that kind of see me like a walking credit card. And sometimes people talk to me. My whole life, I've always been very smart. But I started realizing that sometimes people only talk to you because they see that you're smart, and that sometimes we're very innocent as little kids. And I'm talking about myself. People used to talk to me in school to copy my homework because they used to finish before everybody when I was in El Salvador. And people only used to talk to me nobody like me. My whole life, I felt segregated. I didn't have my mom. I didn't have my dad. I didn't have a brother. I didn't have no one. I had to learn to become self-sufficient on my own. And those are some of the things I had to learn to do on my own. I had to learn to be like, oh, okay, I guess I don't have a mom. But imagine being in a place where you don't feel you belong, but everybody always tells you, oh, we want you to dance for Mother's Day, or we want you to recite for Father's Day, but you don't have nobody to see you. Our parents are the ones that are supposed to make us feel safe. And I'm not saying that my mom and my dad abandoned me because they wanted to, because I literally forgive my mom and my dad. My mom and my dad both come from abandonment issues. I never asked that. I only play my part in which I was feeling guilty. So some things in life, you gotta realize that we are here to break the chains. If you really want to heal yourself, you cannot continue blaming your parents for abandonment, for not feeling safe, for them not emotionally communicating with us, because they never had that. Most of us were never actually even given this stuff. You know, this is stuff that I learned in therapy. This is stuff that I bought books for. I paid for these courses. The book that I just showed you that shows the emotional intelligence, I paid a certain amount, more than $1,000 to be in this. And, you know, I started learning about this, and I started doing yoga practices, and I started doing that. That's the emotional guidance scale, if you want to look into that. In order to get to joy, and that's where I am right now, I had to overcome every single one of these emotions. I had to sit with fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness, jealousy, hatred, rage, revenge, anger, disencouragement, blame, worry, doubt, disappointment, overwhelming, frustration, irritation, impatience, pessimism, boredom, contentment, hopefulness, optimism, positive expectations, beliefs, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness, passion, to get to joy, to get to appreciation, to feel empowered, to know that I'm free, and to connect to love, and to be able to say that it's not carnal love, but it's letting other people voluntary about. So that is the tools that I am going to show you when it comes to the root chakra. This is just a little scratch. I've been doing this for many years. I have different books. There's crystals, there's oils, there's frequency, there's meditations, there's affirmations, there's so many things. But this is just the beginning. And if you're really, really ready to do this, you have to be ready that you may not know where you're going to end up. But one thing I'm going to tell you, you're going to find joy. You're going to find appreciation. You're going to feel empowered. The whole world could be, you know, falling around you, but you're going to do it. You are going to do it because you know you're worthy, because you know you're good enough, because you know that you have wisdom. Spirit told me you lack nothing. You lack nothing. You have all the tools. You've done the study. You have all these notes. You have all this stuff, and you know how to help. The root chakra is connected to removing any back pain, digestive discomfort, pain in the legs, cold hands and feet, if you feel lethargic. There's so many things, and that's just some of the few things. You are gonna feel like you belong in this world. When you get to heal the root chakra, you get to realize, like, no, I matter. I know that I'm a good person, and I know that I really, really, really matter. So let me go ahead over some final notes. And this is just a little, you know, the beginning of it. It took me a while. You know, when I started my meditation, I was only advised to do it 3 days. And then after I did this meditations for 3 days, I was like, what do I do? I literally was like, I was lost. And I was desperate for change. I was. You saw me. I was desperate for change. I was speechless. I was like, well, this is working. It made me feel a lot of my emotions. It made me sit with my insecurities, with my depression, and all those not feeling safe into this world. So I started committing to myself, and I started doing the inner work, and I started investing in myself, and I started learning more about this myself, and I started signing up for things. So I'm gonna give you some basic information Muladhara is connected to the root, and it's the first chakra that acts as a root, and is concerned with our connection to earth, belonging here, and our very basic fundamentals needs for survival, sustenance, shelter, the health to live in our physical body, and for us to feel safe. If the energy of the chakra is depleted or blocked, our connection to nature and the world around us is also weak. As a result, we're most likely to feel spacey, ungrounded, and less stable. In this condition, we may neglect our physical needs, and we may become unhealthy and weak as a result of this neglect. If the energy of this chakra is overstimulated, we may become too attached to things or the physical world and place too much importance on material wealth and possessions. We may be able to develop the higher levels of our nature because we are afraid to risk losing the possessions. A miser, a person who's unable to enjoy their wealth from fear of losing it, is the perfect example of the energy of this chakra being out of balance. So a miser is the person who is unable to enjoy their wealth for fear of losing it. So if you have wealth, there's people that are rich and haven't even tapped into none of this, and they're making all this money. You know, sometimes even in childhood, that's one of the things I had to realize. When enough money is enough. There's certain guys, or me as well as girls, that feel like, no, I shouldn't even be in a relationship because I'm not stable. Oh, I need to have this kind of amount of money. But sometimes you just throw yourself and you're just like, you know what? Somebody that loves me is going to love me for who I am, not for my possessions, not for what I have. And that's the way that I used to think even before I started doing this inner healing. But that's a personal job. That's something for us. But there's certain things that when you know your worth, you also realize, you see, is this person making the wrong choices? Are they also responsible for themselves? Are they who they say they are? Do they actually have the strength to move forward and they feel safe enough to do this kind of thing? So it's a balance. When it comes to working with chakras and dealing with people, it's definitely a balance. So as I had mentioned before, the first chakra is located at the base of the spine. The corresponding color is the color red. The Sanskrit name is the Muladhara. The common refers of the name of this chakra is either the root chakra, the base chakra, or the Muladhara in Sanskrit. This chakra represents a lotus or 4 flowers. So the number 4 in angel numbers, because I'm spiritual, represents stability. So imagine 4 lotus. And if you know the story of a lotus flower, the lotus flower grew through the mud, which is why it's used to represent it in this beautiful story of the chakras. So now, just to close up, you know, talking about the root chakra, which is connected to the color red. If you like nature, one of the ways that you could actually also balance this root chakra is spending time in nature, eating red fruits, using the color red every single day, setting the intention with the stuff that you're using. Because that's what I did. I started wearing the color red. I started using the intention in the food that I ate and stuff like that. So that's some of the things. I teach more than just that, but I'm able to see and help people in a system because I dwell into the subconscious mind between the ages 1 and 7, in which you were just like a little sponge and picking up trauma from mom, from dad, from grandparents, and for things like that. But you know, I have done my work for a longest time, and I really like it, and it's really, really, really interesting. So just to finish up, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the chakras and our personal growth. The journey to the chakras can be seen as a reflection of our personal journey of growth and self-awareness, self-realization. As we grow and develop the focus on our lives, incorporated the energy of our successive chakra. The first chakra is connected by survival, is blocked by fear, is blocked by depression, and so many other things. It's also connected with our human instincts. The first chakra is about survival. Do I have enough food? Do I have enough water? Do I have enough money to survive? Do I have shelter? Am I physically safe where I am? The first chakra represents the very base level of existence for us reveals our more instinctive selves. Our stronger instincts is to survive, and so until we are confident that these basics of well-being are in place and believe that they will always be available to us, we will survive and we will tend to dominate our thought and drive on our actions. This doesn't mean that we cannot achieve personal growth unless we become wealthy. It is often more a matter of trusting that our world is an abundant place and that all we need is available to us always. And some of this is also connected to the universal laws. A lot of people in the old days or before, we didn't have the accessibility with the internet. Nobody had the opportunity to just have like a regular girl like me and make videos on YouTube and to share these things. So these chakras are also connected to learning the wisdom about the universal laws. Not man-made laws, not the laws of you stop when there's a red line and you go, you turn when there's a yellow line and you go when there's green. Those are man-made laws. I'm talking about universal laws, the laws that God and the universe gave us for us to survive. And this is part of some ancient wisdom that sometimes people have forgot because we don't know that we're energetic beings. But there's some people that decided to go into this, and I was one of them, and I've done so much inner work when it comes to this. I understand, and I processed it. I have embodied it, and I'm able now to sit with myself and to realize, well, in which ways do I not feel safe? In which ways am I still allowing the false events to appear real? So balance the chakra means making sure that our basic physical needs are met without this need of becoming an obsession. From an evolutionary perspective, early men's hunting and gathering is very much focused on the energy of the base chakra. Our modern society is more or less focused on this level of energy than they were in the first society, for whom they revolve almost entirely around the collection of food, finding shelter, and avoiding dangers. So, as you guys can see, through many ages, we are keeping on evolving and we're learning how to move through that. So if you're feeling unsafe, if you have any fears, you have an unbalanced root chakra. As I said, it's connected to the color red. I just wanted to give an explanation. I know it's long-winded, but realize healing is not just a one-day thing. This is something that if you really want to change your life and you're really interested in a healthy relationship in which you become happy by yourself, in which you have joy by yourself, you're not codependent of your having sex with your partner and that's going to make you happy, that's instant gratification. I'm just calling it how it is. You don't become codependent of somebody else making you happy. You don't become codependent of somebody else giving you that validation. You don't become codependent of somebody else telling you that you're good enough. But you sit with yourself and look, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm really not. But what I am saying is that every single day I call myself out and I try my best every single day to give and to share the tools that I have used to heal myself. This is one of them. If you want to further along, investigate more about the root chakra, there's a lot of other things. This is just the beginning, so you can start looking into realizing where is your imbalance. So love to all, peace to all, enjoy to love. So I put my right hand and my left hand, which is my right and my right brain together, put it on top of your head to think good thoughts, put it in front of your mouth to say kind words, put it in front of your heart so you can love yourself and be open and receptive to this information. Take what you can, let go what doesn't resonate. I'm just sharing my tools because the same way I heal myself, I would like all my fellow human beings to heal themselves. You have free will. I'm just a messenger. I'm just a conduit, and Spirit told me, share it. The right people will see it, and if they want to do the inner work, you could either work with me or you could do it on your own. Love to all. Peace to all. Have a good day.